The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
Let's go! Let's take a peek at the 19th episode. I said let's take the peek. I know I said let's take the peek. I'm going to go back in the bloopers and hear it, and it's going to say, let's take a peek. A peek. Okay, so that's how I think I fix it. Let's take a peek. Because if I say it sounds too much like the. And then I get confused in my brain. So let's take a peek. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Dino Fury Second Era episode review. First things first, where's the orange shirt? Well, I was already back on that shirt as a backup because it had my old logo, but the shirt with my new logo had worn off. I'm starting to see that on that shirt too, but more importantly, due to a laundry mishap, it somehow got this piece of, plastic gel stuck to it. It was in a spot I don't think anybody would notice, especially with the overshirt, but being the consummate professional I am, I just decided to move on from it. I'll just have to order another one. Speaking of which, you can also order one of my t-shirts at the Orange Ranger Videos Teespring store. Last time we were supposed to get the start of the big run up to the finale, and maybe we did, if we count a plot hook that looks like a Fisher-Price key. Is it the key to this plot? Let's get the year 2023 started by taking a look at the 18th episode of Dino Fury Second Era, Guilt Trip.
Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can see all of our videos.
Yeah, and make sure you got your notifications set up by hitting that little bell icon so you get notified whenever we post any brand new videos.
Right you. What he said was that if you'd like to support the channel in any way financially, you can consider checking us out on Patreon or Ko-fi at Orange Ranger Videos. Right you.
The episode starts with a villain scene, which actually feels like a nice change of pace. Haven't really done that a ton lately. There's not a lot to say about the scene itself. Void King and Mucus reveal the Sporix's grand plan to wipe out all the humans in Pine Ridge, making it a Sporix paradise.
Excuse me, the f*** did you just say?
I mean, please tell me the idea is at least like an infection vector. Clear out Pine Ridge, secure and build your forces with a city-sized base, and then expand outward. Void Queen is not the type of woman that would settle for one city.
Moving right along,
So, we move on to Buzz Blast for a complicated scene. It starts with Ollie and Amelia geeking out about a haunted hotel that they plan to visit. Ollie is not mocking her at all, and he's even excited when she pulls out a ghost detector, though he's more geeking out that it's an electromagnetic frequency scanner. I bet these two play Phasmophobia together like every night. Surprisingly, the episode even hints that the two of them have slept together, and by that I mean they've slept next to each other, not anything dirtier than that. He says that he doesn't snore, and she knows that that's true, but says that he did fall asleep on a beach once and did drool. Ollie then gets a phone call, and it's Mama Akana, and for the first time, I'm not entirely fond of her in this scene. She's calling about some excavation specs that she sent to Ollie to go over for some reason, and asks if he sent the right ones back. When he absentmindedly says, yeah, sure, he did, she seems surprised by that, as if there was something wrong with them, but she wanted to give him the chance to admit to that. But anyway, she just wanted to chat, saying that she hasn't gotten the chance to talk to her son much lately. He says he's been super busy, and by busy, it seems pretty clear that he's been staring at his new girlfriend. Not an ounce of blame, I'd be doing exactly the same thing. It's Amelia. She tries to chat with him anyway, but he says he's also busy right now, saying they'll chat later and ending the call. She seems very saddened by this, and under normal circumstances, I'd be incredibly sad for her and super pissed at Ollie. There's just one little tiny issue here.
Your incompetence is staggering.
She is at work. And I don't mean like she's sitting in the break room just wanting to have a chat with her son before she goes back from lunch break. She's literally sitting there brushing off fossils and wanting to shoot the stuff with baby boy Blue. Mrs. Akana, you are wise beyond your years. Maybe right now you should focus on what you're doing. So Ollie goes back to planning the hotel date, which, thinking about it, would actually be another sleepover with Amelia. But in Japan, there's a news report of a monster attacking a nearby temple. The Japanese scientists think it's a yokai, but Lonnie knows what's really going on and tries to call Ollie again to let the Rangers know. But Ollie, this time, just turns the call down. Okay, that is a dick move, Ollie. Now I'm on Mrs. Akana's side. But I actually love this next part. Ollie's not picking up the phone? That's no big deal. Lonnie has a direct line to Solon. The Rangers gather at the base and Solon tells them about Dr. Akana's report, showing them the news video. She wants Ollie to come and help her investigate. Ollie. Just Ollie. 6 Rangers. Only needs the one that's her son. This gets even better. The hotel date is apparently that night. Amelia totally understands what's going on, saying it's fine for them to postpone it. But instead, Ollie gets devious. He starts talking up the wonderful food in Japan. And I mean, Japanese food. Yum, right? He does this as he walks over to Ion, the team's resident foodie. This gets Ion super excited about going, so when Ollie says he'd love to go, but he's got this date he set up, Ion happily says that he'll go instead. Amelia steps in even now, telling Ion he doesn't have to go, but he's excited to, so he teleports away. Between Ollie tricking his friend into going into Japan in his place, and Zato not telling the entire team to go, though I suppose 1 or 2 would have to stay back in Pine Ridge just in case of an attack there, I'm starting to wonder why the Dino Fury Rangers are so fond of dereliction of duty.
And now for something completely different.
And that's a really fitting cutaway gag right here, although it maybe could have been now for somewhere completely different, as we head back to Japan. Ion shows up, surprising Dr. Akana, and clearly hurting her feelings when Ion tells her that Ollie had plans. He immediately asks to go try some Japanese food. At first, she says they need to go investigate the Sporix beast, but then she changes her mind. Turns out there's a takoyaki cart on the way. Takoyaki is a small breaded baked flour ball that is mainly filled with minced or diced octopus. I mean, hey, I've never tried it. It could be tasty. Ion liked it, so there's that. He comments that the little village they find themselves walking through reminds him of a village his grandparents lived in on Rathcon, and she comments on how beautiful the area is. For just a moment, this scene took on a really weird kind of first date vibe, which was pretty cringy. Then Dr. Akana gets a giant bird poop on her shoulder.
That's so funny.
However, it's not actually bird poop, it's whipped cream. Then Ion gets pied in the face. 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah?
Get ready, heroes. The old slapstick pie in the face gag, that's this monster's gimmick. Its name is Sugar Hit, and it hits you with sugar. A variety of different pies, though mucus pops out of a bush to say that this monster can hit you with really any sort of confection. Other than an apple pie that misses Ion and honestly brushes just across Lonnie's boobs in slow motion, hello? There's really nothing pre-morph of any interest. Ion gets a solo morph, solo morph, solo morph. Ion gets a solo morph. Dr. Akana tells Ion to go get him, or as the locals say, gun barre! Cringe. She then calls the Ranger hotline to tell them to do what they really should have done from the beginning. Send the entire team. But I do have to give them this much credit. That is actually what the bad guys wanted. After some fighting and slapstick that Christopher Walken couldn't even be bothered to come out here and yawn at, we cut back to Pine Ridge, where Warden Garcia is conducting safety checks on the drilling machine mentioned last time. Yes, it connects. Just like a Ninja Steel story, so let's not cheer too loudly just yet. Void King, Wreckmate, and Slither teleport in, aiming to steal the machine. Warden Garcia stays nearby, calling the Ranger hotline, but of course the Rangers never show up. They're a little bit busy right now. Solon should put like a busy signal on the Ranger hotline when the Rangers are actually off fighting someone else. Anyway, the key that Void King stole does not work. It goes in and turns, so it's not like they changed the key mechanism, but nothing happens. Wreckmate and Slither say the plan has failed, and Void King drops one of these.
Well, I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
They all leave, and Warden Garcia calls the Ranger hotline to disregard.
That was a great scene.
There's really not a ton I can say about the fighting in Japan. Sugar Hit, whose name I remember because it's friggin' goofy, surrounds itself with cake frosting. Ion leaps up to get over it, matrixes around some launched strawberries to get inside and kick the thing. I can't tell if I find that more impressive or annoying. The end of the fight is just as confusing. When Sugar Hit is knocked down, Mucus runs out and says, now it's time for the fun part. She's holding a map, and they teleport away. The Rangers find Dr. Akana, and they all compare notes. Going to her lab, the Rangers report on their stuff to Solon, who tells them about the attack on the drill site. Stupid jokes aside, I actually forgot to mention earlier, Izzy had another one of her really badly timed puns. It's like they want awkward comic relief to be a part of her character. Zato says the team's focus right now needs to be staying in Japan and beating this monster.
Oh, good guess. Wrong, though.
Warning! I am seemingly going to contradict myself here, but I'm going to explain. In this case, you need to send a couple of the Rangers back to Pine Ridge. But I've been screaming the whole time that the entire team needed to go to Japan. Yes, there is now a credible threat back in Pine Ridge. Heck, you can let Ollie and Amelia go back and have their little date, and they'll be there if the bad guys attack again. But no, we need Ollie to be a dick to his mom so he can learn the moral of the day, I guess. She's plotted all of the sites where Sugar Hit has attacked, but asks the other Rangers to correlate that while she speaks to Ollie. She pulls him into a side room, with the door standing wide open, and asks him what's going on. She's hardly heard from him lately. He says that he has a girlfriend now, but she says it's more than that. Yeah, that data that she asked for from him, it was incorrect. It didn't account for rainfall like she asked him to make sure that it did. He gets super defensive about this, saying that if she doesn't like his work, maybe they just shouldn't work together anymore. He storms off, and the Rangers heard every word of this because, again, the door was left wide open, and that's pretty awkward. Amelia says she'll go get her pouty boyfriend. Before we start with that really quick, the takoyaki cart that Dr. Akana said was on the way to the Sporix was literally sitting right outside the lab. Anyway, Ollie is still really defensive at first, but Amelia takes his mom's side. She never had a mom to begin with. Ollie's is super cool, but he's been ghosting her. Making matters worse, one of the Japanese scientists that we've seen in the lab a couple of times walks by, taking the opportunity to meet Ollie in person. He talks about how his mom speaks so highly of him, and says he was just out getting some snacks because the team now needs to pull an all-nighter to make up for some mistakes that she made. Yeah,
Yeah?
Those mistakes were actually Ollie's mistakes, and they're keeping a dig crew from getting paid. Reality smacks Ollie upside the head, but there's no time for him to go to apologize to Mom right now. We've got to work in a only one more trope. You know what I mean. The target has been hitting a number of different sites around. They put together the thing that connects them all, and there's only one left. In this case, Mucus and Sugarhit have been visiting the top 10 tourist sites in Osaka, and there's only one left. The Rangers look around and teleport away. Excuse me, there was a woman standing at that takoyaki cart just down the path from the lab. Did she just wander away? Maybe people teleporting is commonplace in Japan. Why did those Rangers from earlier look just like the real soldiers? The Rangers arrive at the little Japanese village that's apparently the number 10 tourist site in Osaka, finding henchmen taking selfies with phones I'm not even going to ask where they got. Amelia asks if they're sightseeing? Zato screams, "Not on our watch!" The Rangers instamorph and the Garcias run into the village to find Sugarhit, and do so immediately. They start to fight the monster, but something that Sugarhit said earlier comes to pass, that they are as good with their fists as they are with their pies. The monster basically looks like a banana wearing a gi and a black belt, so Zato runs in and says, "They need help."
Very well. I will recalculate.
Ion stops him, saying he's got just the key to beating this monster. And you know what the key to beating this monster apparently is? Punching it really hard. Seriously, Ion just fights this thing one-on-one. And something really weird about this fight, this monster that's been super chatty the entire episode has one line in the fight when Ion drops a bench on its foot. Otherwise, it just makes fight grunts that don't even sound like the same voice. Ion Team Rocket blasting off punches the monster over the tree line, and it grows. Zord time. Ion asks Solon to send the Zords, and she sends a Zord, the Mosazord. Okay, I guess we then meet the bare minimum definition of plurality, as she also sends the Cosmic Raptor Zord, with which the Rangers form the Mosa Comic Megazord. The Megazord runs inside a giant cake, slashes the monster, and that's it. Okay, now, Mr. Walken. Okay, hang on a second. He's adjusting the turban.
You on?
Oh yeah, inserting this take during filming to say that the Rangers were able to snag the powered-up Sporix before Mucus could get her hands on it. The powered-up Sporix, at least as far as I can tell in the story, really aren't amounting to anything anymore, so I'm kind of forgetting to mention that aspect of the story. Back at the lab, the Rangers have saved the day, and Dr. Akana is awarding them with snacks. Ollie pulls her aside, apologizing for the faulty data, and saying that he will pull the all-nighter to help them fix it. She's glad to have her son back, but returning says she's a little sad that the Rangers will be leaving now that the only Sporix in Japan is gone. Amelia says they were thinking about rescheduling their date, which they're going to need to anyway, because if I'm following the timescape of this episode right, that date is supposed to happen about now, and would love to have her input. She says that she no longer sees ghosts as a crazy thing since she's seen monsters now, and says they could even use a brand new piece of lab equipment that has the possibility of detecting ghost activity. She and Amelia leave to go nerd out over that. Ollie tells the others he's staying for the all-nighter, and they leave to get him more snacks. They all pull out lists of different Japanese foods that they want to try, and the episode ends with this "Yay, let's go!" shot that really seems to sum up the entire vibe of the episode. Let's balance the scales! Episode 18, Guilt Trip. Pros, great for Dr. Akana to get a full episode of focus. Japan is always an interesting setting, and sometimes the stupidity was charming. Cons, character assassination for Ollie, plenty of awkward moments, and what did this have to do with anything? A weird, random trip to Japan taking place 90% of the way through this adaptation. Don't try to guilt trip me, episode. You get 1.5 scales out of 5. I said from the very start that Dr. Akana was going to be our older female attractive character in the mold of Commander Shaw, and that is still true. She had a couple of misses in this episode, mainly playing into the plenty of awkward moments con, but overall she's a charming character, and I really like how lately they've been playing her off of other Rangers despite being Ollie's mom. She's kind of a team mom that way. Hey, if you watch Power Rangers, you can't really complain about a trip to Japan, its ancestral home. The original scenes were shot very well on excellent matching sets. This was definitely your classic, there's something really weird in this episode we want to use, or there's something in this episode that we have to use, but it's very Japanese. Either of those premises will lead to the odd Japan-based episode. This is kind of spoiling the wrap-up a little bit, but this is a dumb, silly, stupid episode. You can see that even the actors knew that and had some fun hamming it up. The ending of the episode is especially cute, and I can appreciate the Rangers having fun in Japan, even if they went there for battle. This is something the comics have gotten into a little bit more. If you could teleport anywhere, where would you go to train as a Ranger? Hey, leave your answers in the comments. I am going to keep asking this question. Why must we have characters act so far out of what they are established as being to serve a single plot? The later in the season this happens, the worse it comes across. I get that they tried to tie this to a recent development with Ollie, the relationship with Amelia, but even that's not going to change a person completely overnight. Ollie has adored his mother, respected her. He would not be this much of a dick to her, especially with those lab reports. That is science, and you don't mess with science. Let's see here. Dr. Akana and the seemingly, if not actually, young Ion basically going on a date. Dr. Akana calling her son while she was actively working, her saying that she wanted only her son to come to Japan to help her investigate a monster. Really, as it turns out, Dr. Akana's entire plot line is pretty cringy here, basically jealous because her son is paying more attention to his girlfriend than him, and the moral of the day is, yes, you should involve your possessive mother in your love life, which, yikes. And of course, Gunbare! Cringy! Desune? Mr. Bennett, why? I trust you, my man. I want to believe that this was just a misinterpretation, a slight disagreement on the meaning of things. We have just as much deeper plot involvement as last time, and this time not only is it just the one scene, it's not even at the end of the episode. And to top that off, that deeper plot involvement is that the villain's plan didn't work. It was comic relief disguised as plot progression. 18 out of 22, and the only relevant plot was that the bad guys messed up.
What are you talking about?
This one disappointed me. I feel like I wouldn't have liked it even if it had managed to be what it wanted to be. A cute, charming little side trip to Japan. But it didn't even pull that off. I feel bad saying these things. I want to be excited about Dino Fury. I want the deep plot and powerful story this show has provided in the past. Enough comedy. Let's get serious.
Let's get dangerous.
I'd take that too. Hey now, 19, the last of the teens. Now we're gonna get serious. No more of this family drama stuff. Just some Super Ranger-focused action. Let's go! Let's take a peek at the 19th episode of Dino Fury Second Era, Bad Vibes. Izzy and Javi feel like they've outgrown a family tradition and try to change things up. When the monsters take advantage of this, Izzy and Javi learn why the tradition means so much to their parents. That is going to do it for another Power Rangers Dino Fury Second Era episode review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. Now that the video's done, you can let me know what you thought of this episode, as well as my review of it, down in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button to let me know that you enjoyed this video. And if you're looking for a way to support this channel that isn't Patreon or Ko-fi, you can always check out my Teespring store. Get the old logo merch, the new logo merch, the t-shirts, the hats, the socks, the anything you can slap a logo on. We got it for you over at the Orange Ranger Videos Teespring store. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. There's not a ton to say about it. Void King and Mucus do this take again. I'm not terribly fond of her in this scene. Yep. And not an ounce of blame. I'd be doing exactly the same thing. It's Amelia. Shoot! The Rangers gather at the base and Solon shows them and clearly hurting her feelings when he tells her that Ion haven't even watched Wednesday. The village his farts. Yes, there is now he gets super defensive about yeah, that data that she asked for from him, it was data. The takoyaki cart that the Rangers, especially, not the Rangers, were able to snag the power-up Sporix before the power-up. This is what happens when you ad-lib. Japan is always an interesting SETI. Dr. Akana and the young Ion basically, well, okay, not young. Dr. Akana and the seemingly, if not actually, young Ion basically having a date. Other words that I apparently have to read off the television.